and it will also be recorded there.
And would the recording be shared across? Would the recording be shared later?
Yes, we will do
Yeah,
that.
sure. Thank you.
Yeah, we also have a YouTube live, so everything is going on. So first of all, good afternoon, everyone. This is Swami Sri Parambadur. So thank you all for joining. So this is our third annual series of college applications, where all our fantastic high schoolers who are becoming now rising freshmen in college are going to share. And the entire program is run by our high school kids who will be moderating. You can also, just for a minute, can you stop sharing, Akshita, so we can just see everybody, all the team, whoever is on the panel, so that everybody will be captured. So it's good to have wonderful, all our high school kids, soon to be the college men, in a nice, decorated way in a professional career. And wonderful Akshita and Bharat, the high schoolers, are going to be emceeing. And what I request is everybody, if you have all the questions, please use your chat. Bharat and Akshita is representing all the high school, and they have created a lot of the questions in different area. They will walk us through and give us more information. I'm sure you all may have a lot of questions, so please use the chat. And then later on, at the end, once their questions are done, they will be asking opportunity to say your questions, or they will use your questions through the chat and ask. So with that, I will let Bharat and Akshita kickstart and entertain us, educate us, enlighten us with these 5 panel members. So fire it away, Bharat and Akshita, and good luck. And I will be on mute.
Okay. Hi guys, welcome to the VT Seva College Seminar. First off, we have 5 wonderful graduating seniors, so let's give them a tiny round of applause for being here and taking time out of their day to help us answer these questions. My name is Akshita Mosale. I'm going to be a rising junior at Green Level High School in Cary, and I'm one of your MCs.
Hi everyone, my name is Bharat Nekalapudi. I am a rising sophomore in Green Hope High School, which is in Cary, NC.
Okay, so before we start, this is going to be our agenda for today. So first, we're going to have the senior introductions. We're going to let them tell you guys a bit about themselves. And then we have a couple of like the most frequently asked questions and topics that, we're going to talk about. And then at the end, we're going to have a Q&A that you guys, so you guys can ask questions to them. So yeah.
Hey, hello. My name is Akio, and I'm from Cary, North Carolina, and I'll be attending Georgia Tech for nuclear engineering, and I'll be pursuing a career in fusion energy. I went to WexSTEM Early College, where I dual enrolled with NC State University, which means I took classes at the high school and with NC State, and I was in the Boy Scout Honor Society. I was on an FRC robotics team for 4 years, and we went to the World Championship. And I was a big part of VT Seva, and I was on the youth board myself.
Hi, I'm Chadis, and I'm from Ames, Iowa. So I'm going to be attending Georgia Tech as a biomedical engineering major. So during high school, I was the manufacturing lead and strategy lead of my FRC teams, and we qualified to the World Championship for 4 years. Additionally, I participated in Math and Science Olympiad competition and conducted research through Iowa State University, Brown University, and the Garcia program at Stony Brook.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ridley, and I'm also from Cary, North Carolina. I am graduating from Panther Creek High School and will be attending Virginia Tech to major in computer science in the college, in the College of Engineering, but I will be planning on transferring, or not transferring, or at least changing my major to data science. And some things I've done so far are I'm a active member of the International Lesbian Society, And I've been part of my school's creative writing club where I publish work in there. And I have also done like hackathons, and I participated in the NC State Summer Immersion Program.
Hi everyone, my name is Srinivas. I'm graduating from Green Level High School in Cary, North Carolina. Next year, I'll be attending UNC Charlotte as a political science and business analytics double major. Throughout high school, I did a lot of community leadership through VT Seva. I led a few clubs. I was a teen court attorney. I did shadowing and a lot more. I can get into that later. But yeah.
Hi, my name is Suhan Kathuria. I will be graduating from Green Level High School in Cary, North Carolina. Next year, I'll be attending Georgia Tech as a computer engineering major, and I hope to work in chip design. During high school, I was a programming lead on my FRC robotics team, 5190. I was on the cross country team, and I also did a summer program called NCSSM Summer Ventures. Um, Another big thing I did was that I volunteered a lot in my community and held a leadership position on VT Civic Carry. And through these activities, I gained a foundation in engineering and served my community.
Sweet, another round of applause for all our seniors. Okay, so our first topic that we're going to talk about is college applications. Obviously, this is a very dense application. There's a lot of parts to it, and I'm sure a lot of you, including myself, have a lot of questions about this. So passing it off to Srini, how many colleges should I apply to?
I think this question varies on person to person. Me personally, I applied to 6 schools, Chapel Hill, U Chicago, Georgetown, NC State, Boston University, and um Charlotte. Well, for Charlotte, I got like the auto admit, which is like a program that they started this year. But the amount of schools that you apply to really depends on the program that you want to go to the school for. You have to do a lot of research beforehand on what the program at the school has to offer, the tuition, like how much you're willing to spend on the college admission process and the schools that you're applying to. So I think a good range would be maybe like 5 to 10, picking a number between there and really just applying to schools that like one you'll like if you get into you'll go to or like you're willing to like go to. Don't apply to like every single school on the list because you'll end up getting burnt out, you'll end up getting tired and you won't really care even if you get into the school. Like for example, I got into Boston University and like even though I got in, I have like no intention on going because one, the cost is really high and two, um it was just a school that I applied to even though I didn't really care for it that much. So it's really personal, like how many schools you apply to, but I think a good range is 5 to 10.
Yeah, I agree with Srini saying, like, for example, me, I did apply and get into one of the many Rutgers University schools up in New Jersey, but due to the distance between North Carolina and New Jersey, I was really considering, hey, do I really want to be that far? And also, um, the like not only distance, but do you really see yourself being there for so long? Because again, it's expensive. So you might as well just think, hey, I might want to transfer back home or something like that after a year.
Okay, that was great. Thank you. Next question we have on this topic is when should I start the college application process?
I mean, the process kind of starts the second you go to high school, like ninth and 10th grade, you have to focus on, I mean, we'll touch on this later too. You have to focus on your grades and then like your SAT and what you do throughout high school. But like, I guess the college application process starts towards like the summer of your junior year, summer going into senior year. That should be when you start to make your college app account. I mean, yeah, uh, your Common App. So your Common App account, if you haven't already, that's the summer I started, and a lot of people start drafting their personal statement and start crafting like a list of schools that they want to apply to, and that's when they start doing your research. So, I mean, yeah, through high school, you have to maintain like your grades and stuff, but then like junior year summer, going into senior year, that's where most people start their college application process.
Okay. What are the different types of college applications?
I mean, me personally, I only used Common App for mine. Common App is probably the most broad and most used college application portal. Most of the schools you apply to will be there. I mean, of course, like if we take NC for example, they have like the NC Connect and a few NC portals if you want to go through there. But Common App is probably the most common. That's where I submitted all my applications personally. And I know there are others like Coalition and like there's some like for like the UC schools have their own, the Texas schools have their own. That's just something you have to look into depending on the school you're applying to. But I mean, most of it is just the same. You upload all your materials, you upload your essays, you answer information about like yourself and how to contact. And then once you're done with setting up your account, you upload your essays, you upload your grades, you upload all your awards, and then you submit your application. All the portals are like relatively this like same, like you use them the same way.
Sweet, thank you. Okay. One of the biggest questions that we get a lot is how many recommendation letters should I get and from who? Because obviously that's like a big part of your college application. So anyone, Srini or anyone can answer that one.
No, I can answer this one. For college recommendations, it really does depend on the school. Like some schools will only ask you for one, some will like ask you for two, and they're welcome to take more. And some are specific on like the types of recommendation. But in general, I think you should have at least two teachers that really know you well and also teach very different subjects. You don't really want two math teachers. You don't really want two like science teachers. It'd be better if you have one on like the STEM side, like on the sciences, and then one that's on like the humanities side, like either a history teacher or a language teacher, because these two subjects really show a different side of you. And also, some schools don't want the same subject. Like I think MIT, they specifically ask for like one from like a math or science and one from like a history. And I think it's also important that it's not just teachers that you like, it's teachers that you spend time like talking to. Like it shouldn't be just teachers that you've done really good in. Like, oh, I got an A+ in that class. He's gonna write me an amazing recommendation. It has to be a teacher that you talk to, like after school, or in between classes, and that they know what's going on beyond what just you in the classroom. They should know what you're doing, like outside of the class. They should know, like, oh, if you're going to that like competition next week, oh, like they should know everything, like the smaller details about you so that when you ask, you're not just like bombarding them with a whole bunch of information. It should be teachers that you have a good connection with, but definitely not more than two and maybe three. But the third one can be an outside recommendation if you have like a mentor or like another advisor or something else like that on the outside of the community. But for teachers, you don't need more than two.
Does anyone else have anything to add on to that?
I just want to add, so Virginia Tech is a little different. It's one of the schools that were like they didn't take recommendation letters. I mean, I still took two from an English teacher and a history teacher, where both classes I had always like interacted well with the teacher. And like for example, my history teacher, he was like, "Oh, these are the topics we're going to be learning throughout the year." And I had asked questions like, "Hey, are we also learning about X, Y, and Z?" And so getting to know that, hey, I'm interested in some extra stuff, that's when he was like, "Hey, if you're interested in these, here's some resources that you can use." But yeah, there are some schools that don't let you use and don't let you submit recommendation letters.
Okay, thank you so much. Now I'm going to pass it on to Bharath to introduce the second topic.
So obviously, a college essay is probably the biggest thing that you have to do in a college application. So first question is, how do I write a great college essay?
I can answer this one part. So I spent like a lot of time over the summer trying to write my college essay, like my main personal statement, just because I knew like how important it was to show like my personality to these schools, because essays are extremely important just to show more about what kind of person you are, and not like beyond the grades or the activities that a lot of people share together. Um, so one piece of advice I have is to start early, because the earlier you start, the more iterations you have. Like I wrote like a few versions of my essays, and finally like I picked one that I really liked among the different topics I had. And also to be unique, because a lot of people are writing these essays, and a lot of colleges will probably get bored of reading a lot of the same topics. So write something that you feel like you know the best or only you can write. Because at the end of the day, those kind of essays kind of stand out the most. And they're also the most kind of great to read. So I kind of wrote my essay about how I had a YouTube channel, and how like I learned to gain confidence through that YouTube channel. And I like taught coding and game development on that channel. So that was a good topic for me, just because it was something I really like to do. And it wasn't something that like a lot of people had done as well.
All right, thank you. So next question is, where can I get an inspiration for my college essay?
I can answer this one. I know a lot of you hear about a lot of really good essays online about like really crazy essays that people wrote that they got them into like a whole bunch of colleges, like the Costco essay, that sort of thing. But I would actually advise against reading a lot of those, because those kind of set you into a pattern. And the reason those essays worked for those people is because they were personally tuned for that person. So instead, what I would encourage is that you take everyday things around your life. It's kind of like Suhan said, things that only you can talk about, something that only you would be able to write about. Like no one else should be able to write it. Like even a few sentences shouldn't be generic at all. Every single part of it should be something that's personal to your life. And you also shouldn't be afraid to write about different things. Like, don't be afraid to let go of an idea. Like, I had to move for maybe like four different ideas, and I had to keep writing new essays. But I think that's the only way to come out with a really good essay, is to have gone through so many different ones. So you take something in your life that's really simple, like for example, like something you do every day, like maybe you like you like this specific set of stairs or something, like something really simple, but you should just have a really unique insight or a really unique take on it that only you should have. It shouldn't be about anything really big, like a really big competition. Like there's so many essays about, oh, we went there thinking we were the underdogs and we come out on top. Like those kinds of essays are, like's been said really previously, really overdone. So you need to look at something that's really unique, and then you can't be afraid to keep moving on.
That's really big. So does anyone else have anything to say? Okay. The next question is, when should you start planning your college essay?
I would say like as early as you can, because I started mine in the summer because I knew that I didn't want to like stress about deadlines. So like a lot of people, like my cousins who are a little bit older than me, they told me to start early, and I kind of followed that advice. That's something I'm glad I did, because like a lot of pressure builds up when you have to handle school and all your activities, and like also the deadlines. Um, so it's best to start. I felt like starting in the summer is good because you have a lot of free time, and then you can also get your essays reviewed by your friends who are free over the summer, or maybe your kind of family, or any like counselors that you have. So yeah, I would say like over the summer, or if not, just as early as you can before the deadline.
All right, thank you. So does anyone else have anything to say, or
Yeah, I have a question here. The college essays, like, I mean, I heard about the thoughts that you have on the college essay, But few colleges ask different topics, and a few colleges ask a different category of topics. So even if we are prepared, we may not be able to categorize into that category of what the specific college is asking. At that point, you need to kind of, write a different essay and provide to them. That's one thing. And second thing, not just one essay, but they may be asking more details in a kind of elaborated information about yourself or your future plans on the university, and then maybe various other topics, right? So how do you prepare yourself on that? And how do we, even though if we are preparing in advance, how do we manage within that requirement from the specific college?
Yeah, just Suresh, the thing is what they're talking all about the colleges say, and all the people, this is a personal statement, which is a 650 words, which is very, very important. That is the one which all the kids were saying. Other essays are, because depending upon the college, they will ask, okay, why do you want to go to UNC? What are you bring to the UNC? So there are very specific questions. So that all questions will depend upon which college you are applying, whether you have taken the college tour, how much research you have done. So that is very college specific. But the kids, what they're talking is all about the personal statement, which is much more valuable for as an important step in the college application. So that is where, which Suhan and everybody was saying, hey, no, I should start early, I should talk about it. It's all about which even couple of years ahead also you can start. So those are the different essays you will be coming, but whenever they are talking about the essay, it is all about the personal statement. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, the shorter essays that you're talking about, those are called supplemental essays, which, yeah, me personally, I did use like websites online, like College Essay Guy. He's a really good source where like certain websites like him, they will break down like for each college, like you're saying, for each college what they would ask. That is found through a lot of research. But yes, we are talking about the main 650 word limit essay.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
Okay, well, now I'm gonna pass it to Akshita for the next topic.
Okay, sweet. So our next topic is choosing a career path and what am I going to do for college? What major am I going to apply for? So I'm going to pass it on to Riddhi. So how does one choose a career path? How far, do I start thinking about that in ninth grade? How do I get, more, like, how do I get more insight on the different careers and stuff?
Well, for example, me, like I said in the beginning, I got in with computer science, but I am trying to switch to data. That's only because I was interested in going into engineering because it is very useful in many fields. That's where I was going for, like, how can whatever I go into be useful for whatever field I go into? That's one thing I'd like to say that a lot of people say, hey, like go for this major, that field, and whatever. But by the time you get into the job market, things can change. So you would want to do something that you are actually interested in. Like identify the subjects that you're actually interested in. Like, are you good in your computer classes or math classes, physics classes, whatever? And if you know what you're interested in, that can help you really narrow it down.
I mean, I can also add on to this. I would also say to not be like scared of locking in your possible like career with your major, and like the major you actually apply for does not have to be the major you actually pursue in college and graduate with. But I will say also that you do want it to be somewhat aligned. Like I know you hear a lot of people that apply to college with like a really small major that's really applied to because they think it'll give them like a higher chance of getting in. But it doesn't really work because you need to have a fit with the rest of your of your application and your profile. And colleges can see clearly, like if you've done a whole bunch of stuff in like the pre-med area and like with biology and that sort of thing, and then you apply for like astrophysics or something like completely different. But I would also say to don't be like scared of locking it down because there's always time to change what you want to do. And also you can do a lot of different things with a single degree. It doesn't really matter. It matters a lot more like the connections you make and the experiences you have like in the summer and like internships and that sort of thing. So I would say don't be too scared to change or like choose a different major than you like would want. Like if someone's only if everyone's around you is only telling you to do like these few things, don't be scared to choose something else, but also don't go to like the complete opposite side thinking it'll give you an advantage in that sense.
Yeah, thank you so much. So another question is well, this is actually directed to you guys, but how did you guys figure out, oh, I want to go into computer science, I would want to go into engineering? Because a lot of you guys are going into engineering and it's great, but like, did you do any like internships? How did you get, some insight in that area before you put it on your college app that you want to major in that?
Like for me, I took like physics in 11th grade and I thought it was kind of interesting. And I also took a lot of math classes in school, like calculus. And I did well in those classes and I thought they were interesting. So that put me down the path of engineering. So because I like those classes in school, I also did robotics outside of school, which I thought was also really cool and interesting. So I kind of decided to pursue engineering because of those two reasons.
Uh, I think one thing is for like when it's high schoolers and they don't really know what they want to do or like what path they want to go down, it's really important that they experiment. And the thing is, like in high school, there's like unlimited opportunities for you to experiment. There's like organizations and clubs you can join. For me, when I was in ninth grade, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to do like engineering or I don't know, like try medicine or maybe do something like completely different. And I made sure in like ninth and 10th grade that I would try like almost like all the clubs in my school. Anything that would pique my interest, I'd try, no matter what field it was in. Um, Taking like a diverse like group of classes and just trying as many different things as you can until you find what you're really interested in. For me, I took a law and justice class in my sophomore year, and that teacher really like he connected with me and he told me all these things that you can do in the law field, which is what I want to pursue in my life. And through that class, I was able to find out about teen court, mock trial, Model UN, and so much more. And eventually, just because I kept on trying and trying new things, I found something that resonated with me and I was able to focus on that. So for like kids who don't really know what they want to do, it's really important that you just try everything until something clicks.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so the next topic we're going to do is the impact of grades. Obviously, you hear everyone talking about it, not just, your high school transcript, but SAT, ACT. So I'm going to give it off to Chetas. So one question we get a lot is, should I submit mediocre AP scores or any AP scores at all?
I'd say yes. So first of all, for AP scores in general, they're all going to be very useful. Especially in like state schools, like for example with Georgia Tech, they're taking all of my AP credits, so I can get out of a lot of first year classes. In terms of submitting like mediocre AP scores, it's generally better to submit a mediocre score than to not submit a score at all. Especially like if you got a good grade in the class and so you got like a 3 on the exam, that still shows that you know the material, and certain schools do accept that credit. So I would suggest, yes, submit all of your AP scores.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. The next question is, how influential would a bad grade in one class be?
Yeah, so I think like one bad grade isn't like gonna like, get you rejected from every school. Especially like the earlier on in high school, like colleges are going to understand that you might just have had a bad class. But you should still definitely try and get good grades in all of your classes. But like one grade isn't going to ruin your application. And just as long as you're doing good on the whole.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Next I'm gonna pass it on to Barth to ask the rest of the questions. I think you're muted.
So the next question we have is how influential are freshman year scores on college applications?
I can take this one. Uh, I will say, I mean, they don't really matter like nearly as much as you think they do. I know there's several schools that don't even look at your first semester or first year grades like at all, which is like pretty crazy. But the majority of schools look like way more for like a trajectory. Like if they see an upward curve, uh, that does as well for you as just having good grades like all throughout. And so it's kind of seconds what Chaylis was saying, but having like a few bad grades at the beginning does not really matter like at all. And like you really should not be stressing or losing any sleep about it. It's only when you have like you're like you start up really high and then you start to do bad at like the end of junior year, beginning of senior year, especially on classes that are like in line with what your major is gonna be. That's like a little more problematic. But even then, it still doesn't matter that much like, as long as you like make up for it with other things like your extracurriculars and that sort of thing. But especially like early grades, they don't really matter. And there's several schools that don't look at freshman year at all.
All right, yeah, thank you for that response. So the next question is how much do SAT/ACT scores matter?
Yeah, so for test scores, I think overall so a few years ago a lot of colleges wouldn't accept test scores and now most of them are requiring them again. So they are important, but again like once you're past a certain point they're not as important. So for example, on like the ACT, like there's not going to be much of a difference at all between like a 35 and a 36. And the other thing a lot of colleges do is super score. So like let's say on the SAT you get like a really good score in math the first time and like a really good score in English the second time. You can like super score combine those. Um, so they are important, but again, like they're just one small part, and like your other extracurriculars, that's what's really going to set you apart. Yeah.
Okay, well, adding on to that, what happens if you submit like a bad score?
Generally, again, like with schools requiring like test scores, you should submit whatever score you get. And one thing I'd suggest is like start taking tests early. Like by junior year, I think it'd be good to start taking these tests because you might not do great your first time. But you only have to submit like one score ever. So if you do like bad your first time, you always have multiple other chances throughout the rest of your junior year and into senior year.
Okay, yeah, thanks. So going on to the next topic, which is finding the right college, or passing out to Suhan. How can students tell whether a college is the right fit beyond rankings and reputation?
Um, that's a good question. Like, I had gotten into a few schools as well. And so picking like the school that I was going to go to was a difficult choice. So some tips I have for finding the right college is number one, look at price because my parents had set like a budget for me of how much they could afford in tuition. And a lot of the private schools are really expensive. They can get up to 100K without aid. So maybe like definitely keep price in mind and if your family can afford it. Um, Also, a lot of people want to consider the location. So if there are a lot of jobs in that area or if the area is accessible, like a lot of my friends are going to Purdue, which is also something I considered, but it is like quite far away from where I live. So just like keep location in mind because that is somewhere you're gonna have to live for 4 years. And then also look at the program, like just think about what you're passionate about and what kind of opportunities there are there. Like I kind of wanted, like I'm kind of interested in chip design right now, and one of the reasons I chose Georgia Tech was because they have a really big club for that industry. So just like keep in mind what kind of classes, professors, or clubs each school has and how that like matches to what you want to do after college.
I would like to add on to that, um, like for example, me, when I say like I chose Virginia Tech, I also got a different school in Virginia called George Mason University. But when I saw like the opportunities wise, I did see Virginia Tech is like somewhat like funded by the government as well. And with it being 4 hours from DC, the times I went for the college visits and etc., they have mentioned that their job opportunities there, they can give a lot because of their connection to DC, which is something that I like because with me wanting to switch to data science, a lot of good data science jobs are in the DC area or at least in Maryland as well. And so, yeah, like Suhan said, know where the opportunities are. Then you can choose like what college or what city minimum you want to go to that, where you want to go to college for.
Okay, yeah, thank you guys. So next question we have is what factors should students prioritize when building their college list?
I can take this one. I think it really it depends on quite a few things. I mean, of course, the main thing is what you want to do, like what field you want to go into, and like many people have said, like what's in the area, and then also what's at the school, what professors are there, what research is happening, like in certain labs. Like if you like if I you have to be able to say like, oh, if I go there, I'll be able to join this club, or I'll be able to go to this research lab, or I'll be to do this program. It shouldn't be like, oh, I like this like oh there like a lot of people talk about this school or like I like the area. It should really have things that are really specific to what you want to do. You should be able to see like a concrete idea what you want to do when you get there. And then you also want to consider the smaller things too. Like I know like a lot of people don't consider, but like the weather is a big thing. Like going up north, there'll be snow, it'll be really cold, it'll rain a lot more. And like the climate and the cuisine and like the even the atmosphere around the city and like whether or not it's in a city and being suburban, that sort of thing. And so I think something I'd recommend to a lot of people is to make like a spreadsheet and do this probably before like your summer, but and put out like a whole bunch of colleges and then like put in everything that you have in a bunch of different categories. Like put in not only what they have for your major, but like what kind of opportunities they have in like that city and then the climate and then like put in everything. And then until you look at like the whole picture, you shouldn't be making any decisions. So you got to go like deep into like a topic like for into a school, but you also have to go broad in what you look at. And to give a question.
Yeah, just to add on to that, when making like your full college list, you should also make sure to have some like safeties, targets, and reaches. So safeties are schools that you like know you're going to get into. A lot of times these are like state schools that have some sort of auto admit. Your targets are schools that you're kind of aiming for, and your reaches are like ones that like there might be like your dream school, but they have like really low acceptance rates. So it's important to have a balance of all of them. Like your safeties, just so you know you're getting into like a school, and your targets are the ones that you're most likely going to go to, and you want to apply to some reaches just in case you are able to make it to the top schools. Yeah, it's important to have a balance of all three.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for answering that. Okay, our next thing is what are the top things you wish every student considered before choosing a college? And I feel like it's a pretty good question to ask now that you guys are done with college applications. So, like, what would you, yeah, like, what would you wish you knew before starting your college application?
Definitely don't freak out every time you see the word deferred or waitlisted, because I did get deferred from Purdue and UGA and then later got like projected, but it's a way of saying like there's a lot of words like again deferred and waitlisted that the first time I heard them I was like, what do these mean? And they also the way you hear it from other people, it kind of scares you off. But then if I had researched a little bit more, then I would have known, hey, that's what it means. And I think someone else can explain the two words in a better way than I could.
One thing I would say is just I think we've kind of been mentioning it throughout, but just getting an early start, nothing can really beat an early start. You like if you whenever you have time, since the summer is starting, if you're like a rising senior, just if you haven't already, like make that Common App account and just get started. It's really hard to manage things once school starts. You think that like, oh, I'm a senior, all my classes are easy, but like, things just start to add up when the school year starts. So take advantage of this free time you have in the summer and just get that early start. And then if you're like a sophomore or a freshman, maybe try and just knock the SAT out. Because like you only have to like Chita said, you only have to get one good score. Once you get that one good score, you're done. You don't have to ever take it again. So just take advantage of the time you have and just get it done with early. That's for like anything high school or college related.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay. Another question is actually about campus visits. So, what should students pay attention to during a college tour or a campus visit?
I think the number one thing is like how you feel on the campus. Like if you go there and you feel like you feel like you look around at the people, what people are doing and like the architecture and like the lawns, that sort of thing, you should be able to really feel yourself there. Like when I did my visits for my last few schools, I went to Tennessee and it was a beautiful campus, but like as I walked around, it wasn't really like welcoming in a way, for me personally, because I didn't really like I didn't like how far away the libraries were from like everything else, and uh like the walkway was really small, like there wasn't really much focus for like on walking. And then when I went to go like tour Georgia Tech, I really liked the pathways they had, and I really liked like the hammocks they had in the courtyard, and I saw students like relaxing, and I really like that. So you should really, when you look around, you should focus on how it makes you feel, not just like, oh, look at how big the engineering building is, or look at how many things, like look at how many libraries they have. You should really focus on what you feel when you're on the campus and like the feeling you get and what you see in the students around you. Because what you see in the students around you, like that's what's gonna happen to you like when you're there. So if you don't like what you see, then you're not gonna like your experience at the college. And I would also take the time to, of course, go around and look at like, oh, like I'm we going into like, for example, if we're going to material science, then you need to go look at the material science building, or like, oh, look, I know they have this research lab that I really want to go see. So you should take the chance to go see those things that you've only researched about. But the main thing is like how you feel on the campus.
Yeah, thank you so much. Does anyone else have anything else to add to that?
I think like one thing that you can do is get to know people, like get to know students or professors that you encounter on your visits, because like when I kind of went on visits after I'd gotten accepted just to see like just to pick what college I wanted to go to. But I was kind of worried about like how far the schools were or like the weather or stuff like that. So when you get to talk to someone who actually goes there, it makes it a lot better. You get to know a lot of more things.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So another question is, what advice would you give to a student who's deciding between two colleges they like equally?
Yeah, one thing I'd say is like first, if you haven't visited them, like definitely go and visit them first, get a feel of what they're like. And then second, I'd say like start talking to people. Like if you like know anyone who went to those schools or is currently there, they can provide insights on like more specific things that might pull you one way or the other. So I think those two are really important, and that was ultimately what like made my decision. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, for example, I also did get into Charlotte, but for me, compared to like the people that I knew going to Charlotte, I was like, do I see myself surrounding myself with the same exact people? And then Virginia Tech, like at first I knew no one going there, but yes, now I luckily know people going there from my school and from the surrounding area. So you'll find someone. That's one thing I want to say. You'll find someone, don't worry. Like, oh, you're going to a school probably no one is going to. Don't worry about that. Worry about, do you see yourself going here? Do you see yourself like taking advantage of the program at that college? Which is one way that I also it like comparing myself between like the opportunities at Charlotte versus at Virginia, that's what really got me to say, hey, I'll choose Virginia Tech.
Yeah, thank you guys. So the next question we have is, what is the biggest mistake students make when choosing a college?
I think definitely going on like name. I think Srini talked about this earlier, but just going off of like the name or like the ranking really does not help at all because most of the time it'll either not be a good fit for you or it won't have the right opportunities for what you actually want to do. And it'll most likely be costlier because with prestige comes higher costs. Most of these colleges like know that they're highly valued and so they raise their rates. And I think chasing something that others tell you is like will not help you. You really need to feel it like yourself. You need to find it out yourself. You need to like deeply research. And of course, you could come across a college that is highly valued, like has really nice name value, but also is really good for you. But don't start from the name value side, start from what do I want and then narrow it down. And then if it ends up on a college like that, then that's fine. But you really have to be really like truthful to what you actually want and what you actually like need, not what will like look the nicest or be the best. Because having a college on like your resume later like really doesn't mean anything. It's gonna be like one line. It matters way more like what you get out of the experience and what you do with your time there. So focus way more on that than the name.
Yeah, I agree with Akil because like one thing that happened to me was like I always really wanted to go to UNC Chapel Hill because like a lot of my friends had gone there and my mom had also gone there and I was kind of worried about that. But later when I got in, I realized that it wasn't the right fit for me and like what I wanted to do because they didn't have the major that I wanted to do. So kind of just look at the opportunities that it has for your specific needs and don't go on like prestige or like how many of your friends are going there because those things don't matter as much in the grand scheme of things.
Okay, so on to the next question, which is about a resume. So, what is the purpose of a resume in a college app?
Well, I can answer this one. I will say that resumes aren't really that common for college apps. Like I off the top of my head, I only know a few, like I think like Texas A&M that like ask if you want to submit a resume. So I would say don't be too worried, but because everything you would put on a resume, you're gonna put into Common App, like Srini was talking about earlier, there's a section for all your honors, your ECs, your awards, your this and that. So I would say for the whole process though, a resume is most important for your recommendations because when you give your recommender like when you ask your recommender for a recommendation, you want to give them like a brag sheet of what you've done, and this is in a way a resume as well because it's everything you've done like really condensed. But you're not really showing a resume to colleges. You're putting that what the resume consists of into like the application. So I would say only focus on making one that's presentable to your teachers or to your outside recommender. And that's kind of like the main purpose of resumes, I would say.
Sweet, thank you. Okay, another question is, so Akil just talked about it and Srini also talked about it, but what are some what are some things that are irrelevant and really don't have like a purpose of being included in the college app? You added how like there's parts where you have to, add your accomplishments and the awards you get, but what are some things that, aren't really like worth saying? You can just, yeah.
Yeah, so for this, so on the Common App specifically, there's only spots for 10 activities and 5 awards, I believe. So especially for the activities, you want to focus on things that like you've really had an impact on or what you've done a lot with. So this could be things like leadership positions or personal projects or something you've really done that you've put a lot of time into and you've gained a lot out of. The kind of stuff you can leave out is like in high school you're going to join a lot of clubs and some of them you might just be like a member, but you kind of just go to meetings and don't do a whole lot. So if you don't have space for those are completely fine to leave out. Colleges really want to see like the role like you had in these clubs. So like yeah, again, like leadership positions or any personal initiatives you took through these are going to be the most important things to include.
Yeah, to add on to that, I mean, it feels really counterintuitive, but it's actually better if you don't fill out the activities list because that also, like, unless you've done like truly crazy things, it shows to most colleges that you did like a whole bunch of things to kind of build up a profile for what colleges want and not pursued what you actually like and pursued it deeply. It's much, much better to pursue like 2 to 5 things to a really high level and to really highlight like accomplishment, proficiency, and position than to have decent stuff or really good things for a few stuff and then average stuff for the rest of it and then putting it all on there. You don't want to put everything you've done. It looks way better to colleges if you only fill out like maybe half. Like I would say don't go above like 7 activities, maybe even less, because it really looks better when you show a more focused narrow profile of yourself and your interests and your accomplishments because it shows the colleges that you're that much more interested in that field or that topic and that much more interested in pursuing it and making a big impact in that field at the college and beyond.
And adding on to what you guys are saying, when it comes to like Akila saying yes, obviously go for the like shortened list, like see what is the best out of your list per se, and try to like make most of your if you are adding activities and accomplishments, try to make them more like towards what you're actually going for and then add like a little extra. Like for me, I did add like hackathon, NC State summer immersion program. And then I also added how in my school we have our literary magazine, our school magazine, how some of my pieces got published in it. So I added that, like it's publication to say, hey, I know I do all these like technical stuff, but I also can write. I can write, guys. And so that's what I was really going for. But yeah, go with the Akil and Kate as you're saying. That's really helpful.
Okay, sweet. Any last minute things that you guys would want to say before we move on to the Q&A? Like maybe your high school experience and stuff you did that helped you? Okay, then we can move into the Q&A. So there's a couple questions put that are already in the chat, but if you guys have more, please keep them going because we are gonna ask them. So someone said, by applying through early decision, does it give you any advantage or priority in the college admission process?
Yeah, so early decision is like a process where you submit your application earlier, usually by like November 1st. And colleges release your decision like usually by mid-December. But like the catch here is that if you're accepted, then you're like bound to go to that college. So because of this, since the colleges know that you will go there if they let you in, the acceptance rates are significantly higher for the schools that do have an early decision process. But I would warn against doing it unless the school you're applying early decision is like that's like your dream school and you know that you'd go there over anywhere else. Yeah.
To add on to that, you can only do it for one school. So like Cheta said, be really sure. And also, the actual effectiveness of applying early decision does vary significantly across colleges. Like some schools, like Tulane goes as far as up to like 60% of admitted students are from early decision. and other schools it's like under 10%. So this is all like publicly available data. You can look at the college like common data set, and they publish all this information online. So look at the schools, and if you're thinking of applying ED to a school, but you see online that the percentage, like the boost rate is not that high, it's not worth it because you're binding yourself to a school that you might end up not wanting to apply to. But on the other hand, if you look and like, oh, it boosts your admission chance like 30%, then it would be a good idea for you because the payout would be worth it and binding yourself would be worth it because you're getting such a high admission rate. But it is publicly available. So just search it up online and look at the schools and then make the choice after that.
Sweet. Thank you so much. Okay. Another question that we had is, what if I had all Bs in high school? How does that, or all Bs like freshman year, how does that impact my college admission process?
For me, freshman year, freshman, maybe sophomore year, I did have plenty of Bs, unfortunately, but it didn't really slow down my college application and college admission process as well because like I did get at least considered for many of the colleges that I got into. But then again, like I think it was already mentioned earlier, happens like freshman year, sophomore year, it doesn't really affect your college, like what colleges see from you. They really see your junior year and senior year.
Also, one thing is if like your GPA is like if you consider yourself like on the lower side of the GPA scale when like you're comparing your GPA and like a school that you're applying to, like the average GPA for incoming students. If it's on the lower side, you could always try and like even out your application with a high SAT score or with like great extracurriculars. At the end of the day, it's not just like that one, it's not just your grades that get you into the school, right? It's a little bit of like everything. So let's say you're going into like your junior year and your GPA is on the lower side, you could really push to get a super high SAT score to try and like level that out.
All right, yeah, thank you guys. So another question we have is which internships, research projects, or summer programs were most valuable for your college applications?
Yeah, definitely for me the programs like I did like some hackathons that were provided through the school. Like people were coming to school and saying like we have these opportunities open, which I took them. And I did apply for like two, maybe three summer programs, and then ultimately chose the NC State one because how much better and the reviews and like the people who've gone there, they did tell me that this solidified their decision to go to that major that they were going to. But yeah, go for things that actually interest you and are like relative to the major you're going for. Because if you're going for something like arts related and you're not going arts camps, like colleges might like that, hey, you have an arts side to you, but they really want to know how focused are you on this major? Because they could accept anyone, but why are they going to accept you?
Yeah, I would say for me, I went to the Garcia summer program in Stony Brook. I'd say that was like pretty valuable because it got me, especially like more recently, like colleges are looking for research experience a lot. So it was like a research program there. I got to work in the lab and then present at a conference later on. So that was really valuable. But yeah, in terms of like, it doesn't have to be a summer program. So like, I also live like locally to a Iowa State University. So I was able to do some research there just by cold emailing a professor throughout the semester. So those opportunities are really valuable. And the earlier you can start them, the better it is.
Okay, guys, it's a 5 p.m., but I think first of all, congratulations to all the rising freshmen. You guys did an awesome job. You shared a lot of intricate details, personalized, and shared almost like a recipe for success. So kudos to you all. Appreciate and wish you good luck for all. I know there will be we can still have another 1 hour and still there will be a lot of questions will be coming in, but we want to conclude the session with a big applause to all the wonderful panel, and Akshita and Bharat being MCs, you moderated very well. You have asked nice questions and taken this in an interesting journey. It was very interactive. So appreciate everyone. And I will be posting some of these YouTube videos to everybody. And if you have any more questions or anything, you can set up later. So thank you all again. Appreciate everybody and good luck to all these wonderful young men and girls going into the colleges. Good luck. Let's keep in touch. So let's conclude and have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Thank you all. Great.